this episode, we're constructing the crazy and revealing the random with 5 mad modifications that blow your mind and question what is reality. We've got mental mashups.
I've got the ship's horn, I've got the ship's bell, I even have a handy-dandy propeller.
Flipped up favorites.
The best thing about this van is that there's nothing else like it on the planet.
The amount of pictures from cell phones, somewhere around 1,000 a day.
And big, bold, and bonkers.
My DeLorean projects are kind of like kids.
I wanted something unique to drive around and draw attention.
So if you thought I'd shown you all things awesome, think again. These babies are bizarre. Volkswagen campers are the ideal ride for cruising the countryside and relaxing in comfort. But this crazy camper's on its friggin' side.
The best thing about this van is that there's nothing else like it on the planet. This is the Trippy Tippy Hippie Van. So the inspiration for this van was to do something no one's ever done before. And that's a tough thing to do. The coolest van I could think of would be a Volkswagen camper van. Classic, iconic, cool looking.
Police officer Jeff Block, better known as Speedy Cop, has a long history of building outrageous vehicles. Jeff built this crazy camper with a bunch of friends known as the Gang of Outlaws. After 1,000 hours of work, over 5 weeks, this baby was ready to race.
So we wanted to build the world's first racing vehicle that races on its actual side. You have to be able to see through the roof and through the undercarriage in order to do that, so you have to use a van. It's a 1976 Volkswagen camper van mounted on top of a 1988 Volkswagen Rabbit. So my friends and I worked really hard for the last 5 weeks to build this, and we worked day and night at times, sometimes straight through for several days on end, to get this done in time for a race. And it took about 1,000 hours total of labor.
To build a rotated ride is not easy, and Jeff thought of everything.
So on the right side of the bus, we have a vinyl imprint of an actual bus. So from a distance, it looks like a bus's undercarriage. In the front, you see a one-way vinyl Lexan panel. It allows us to see out while you can't really see in. We added extra airflow by adding a second Volkswagen grille. And we added a tinted windshield to kind of help hide the car inside.
Nice one. This trippy van is tidy.
So we had to fudge the roof out a little bit on this end and create a fake undercarriage on this side so that the Rabbit wheels can still turn as you race around. So the Trippy Tippy Hippie Van is mounted on the Rabbit in a bunch of places. Both bumpers have welded mounts, and then there's some various mounted points throughout the body. Both of these doors are still hinged and work. The window's tinted, so you can't see inside quite as easily, so it doesn't give it away so much. We had to have visibility coming through the roof to be able to see out for the race. We used one-way vinyl on Lexan sheets. Both driver's and passenger side are hinged for easy egress if there was an emergency during the race. So the inside is pretty basic. It's got a race seat, harness, fire extinguisher, a cool Italian Maserati steering wheel, and a clock from Frozen to tell the drivers when their stint is over and they have to come in.
The clock? Let it go, brother, let it go.
So we raced it last weekend for the first time, and it ran all weekend. We did a total of 224 laps on a 2-mile road course. It's really grippy. In fact, some of the corners where I was cornering really hard, it was going well up on 2 wheels.
Man, this ride is rapid.
People see this thing driving, and their faces just melt. It's awesome.
From a cockeyed camper to a bodacious boat car. Batten down the hatches, because our next ride is a booty. If you've ever wanted to sail the high seas but remain firmly on the land, have I got the find for you.
You have a boat, you have a car, and you have a convertible. So it's all 3 in 1.
This is the boat car.
Always had a love for the boats and being out in the ocean and being on the water. But then again, I've always loved cars. My wife said to me, why don't you build a boat car? I looked at it, I researched it, and she said, I bet you can't do it. And in a year, I built it, and I won the bet. And I kept the boat car.
Shiver me timbers, Old Salt Mark Ray has built a treasure. He's combined a 1994 GMC Jimmy with a recovered 1997 Sea Ray Bowrider to complete this road-legal drivable ride. The paint job? Strictly do-it-yourself. Mark bought some primer and painted the vehicle after studying the process on YouTube. The project all completed within a year.
And this boat happened to be a recovered, sunken boat. It was going to go into the landfill. I got the boat for free, pressure washed it, cleaned it, and ended up painting it red and black instead of its original white and green color. It took about a year to put it together. Took the original vehicle, which is the GMC Jimmy, and cut the whole body apart to install the boat on top of the GMC Jimmy. The boat car had to be painted, it had to be fabricated. It cost me under $10,000, but it's worth a lot more than that. People ask me frequently, how do you get in my boat car? I go, you get in the back of the ladder. They go, but where's the door? I go, this is a boat, it's not a car. So we've been asked that so many times, I ended up putting on door handles. These are fake door handles, these are dummy handles. But people still think they can open it. You climb up the ladder and you're in. I even have a handy dandy propeller. Doesn't do much, but it sure does look good. I've got side view mirrors. These came from either a Camaro or a Firebird. I've got the ship's horn, I've got the ship's bell. In order for it to be street legal, the boat car had to have headlights, taillights, turn signals, had to have a horn, had to have seat belts. This is expanded metal, and this is where the air flows through to get into the radiator to keep the engine cool. I used diamond plating on the hood just to give it a nice look and keeps clean very easily that way. I've even got fishing rod holders. And of course, Scully, he looks out for everybody getting in and out of the boat.
The boat build is a clever conception, and it sails past the sidewalks at speed.
The boat car does move along pretty fast. It's got a 4.3 V6. My daughter and I have had this boat car in the pouring rain up to 75 miles an hour. Just a nice, fast ride. Won't burn rubber, but it does run good. When I drive around in public, people they go crazy. I'm driving, and all of a sudden I hear the cars honking and people waving. And my daughter and I have seen people videotape and run right off into the shoulder. It always puts a smile on someone's face.
It's a very novel idea. I'd have to take it for a spin to see how it really floats.
It's awesome. It's a eye catcher for sure.
Would you drive it?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
I enjoy going to car shows and winning. Would I ever consider selling the boat car? I don't think so. I had one guy offer me jewelry, and I told him, you keep your jewelry. I'm keeping the boat car.
Keep your loot, because Matey Mark's street driving ship is not for sale. From a breathtaking boat car to a peculiar pickup. The pickup truck is a perfect workhorse. Power up top and the back filled up. It's a pickup for a purpose. So when someone flips it upside down, you're in a whole new world of weird.
The amount of pictures from cell phones, somewhere around 1,000 a day.
What the heck? Is that cool or what?
This is the upside down truck.
Well, we own a towing service, and we got called from the DeWitt County Sheriff's Department to a rollover accident. As we were approaching the scene, there was a pickup truck that was rolled over on its top in about 10 inches of snow with all 4 wheels sticking up in the air. I said, hey, I'll bet you I can recreate that.
My man Rick had all the skills to pull off this playful pickup. His day job is a body shop owner at a collision center. This flipped Ford F-150 is a combination of 2 cars and bizarrely completely road legal. After seeing enough accidents in his career to last a lifetime, Rick was determined to build something that wouldn't end up on the scrap heap.
The truck cost me $6,000 to build, and it took me 6 months to complete. We collected parts from a Ford F-150. Then on the drivetrain, it is a 91 Ford Ranger, and we tore the body off of it and transformed the F-150 upside down onto the 91 Ford Ranger. And when I brought the truck home, my wife said, "Oh man, he's done it again."
Let me guess, Rick, she flipped.
The truck is 100% road legal. It has turn signals, it has rear view mirrors, it has everything that the state requires. I get a lot of strange looks when I'm out driving. You ready to go for a ride?
Yeah.
The general reaction that I get from people when they see the upside down truck is just, how in the world did you do that?
The best thing about it is it's because it's upside down.
People are amazed. I mean, it's one of those things that when you first see it, it's hard to recognize what it is. But when you take the second look, then they pull me over and want to look at it closer.
What the hell is that?
No matter how much you look at this pickup, it still confuses my mind, brother.
You know, your first reaction is that something's wrong.
It makes you take a double take. I think this vehicle is extremely odd.
Saw you guys on Facebook, yeah.
When I drive my truck, I feel 20 years younger than my 62 years of age now. Project for the future, just keep watching the streets, because it's coming.
That's the secret to youth, baby. Build something that's bizarre. When you're creating your own ride from scratch, there are literally no limits. Anything goes.
I have an extreme go big or go home attitude with most everything I do, so we went big.
Real big and real powerful.
I wanted something unique to drive around and draw attention.
This is the Big Hooker.
Tow trucks are known as hooks, tow truck drivers are known as hookers, and that's the theme I went with. My business slogan is the biggest hook around, because my business, I've got the largest tow truck in the area. Big Hooker's just something I built out of a bunch of stuff I had laying around to drive around and have fun with. Build process started with just an idea. Too many hours spent behind the wheel thinking of how to build it, how to make all the different pieces work together, and how to be different. Out here, you can't just run to the store and buy things. So most things are made out of stuff you've got laying around. That's always been a way of life for us, is to make do with what you have.
Brandon pieced together the Big Hooker himself with a little help from his girlfriend and his son. The chassis comes from a damaged 2007 Freightliner semi-truck that Brandon recovered. The huge Detroit diesel V8 is from his first ever heavy record, and the truck's body is made from 2 old wheat trucks owned by his grandfather.
The engine's very unique. They have a very unique sound. This is the 2-stroke Detroit diesel. We had the radiator custom built to make sure that it stays cool. We fabricated the long swing arms to get the axle out front here to give it the hot rod appeal. Molding the 2 cabs together. By far the hardest thing. I don't like working with sheet metal. I've never attempted anything like that before. I'm not sure I ever want to do it again. It's naturally rusted back enough to where you got to look close to see where we welded it together here. The hook here, when we dug a hole in the ground and built a forge, we melted down truck rims and pistons and just any scrap aluminum I had laying around. I cast my own 3-foot-tall aluminum hook. Where the bottom here is starting to get polished, that's from people getting in and out of the hook, taking their pictures. Between the 2 exhaust pipes, there's almost 1,000 pounds of exhaust. They double as a guard in case somebody would happen to hit me. They would hit this pipe, and that pipe ain't going anywhere. And it also acts as a running board to get in. In it, it gives you a place to step to get in. After a long drive, if you're wearing shorts, you want to be a little careful. It will burn your legs.
Man, this is one hot truck.
The interior here, we went pretty basic. I didn't get fancy. We just left it pretty much just sheet metal, put a little sound deadening in it. So we Put the seats out of a 2014 Ford F-150 Harley-Davidson edition in for the front seats, put the center console in, and modify the shifting mechanism to work with the Allison automatic.
Now, no one's going to use the word deluxe to describe Brandon's ride, but take it out on the road and it's one big beast.
Well, the funnest part's driving. It's like driving a semi. The steering is very unique on it, so you gotta kind of just guide it down the road. It's very responsive. You kind of gotta be comfortable with it to drive it. It's got a lot of acceleration. It gets up and goes. It does some pretty crazy burnouts. We go through about 8 sets of tires a year with it. I didn't really realize how well it would smoke them huge tires.
Seriously, dude, this hooker is as hard as hell.
We put roughly 10,000 miles a year on it, traveling to different car shows. Everywhere we go, we get jaw-dropping response. It's just nonstop people stopping in here to check it out and take pictures. My daughter is infatuated. She wants me to escort her through the parade for homecoming and stuff with it. She's already got plans to take it when I die.
From a tough truck to a DeLorean with a difference. They may have only made 9,000 of these bad boys back in the 80s, but there's no disputing this ride is pure gold.
I love the idea, the concept, the materials used, the way it was put together. It kind of blew everybody away, took everybody off guard. People didn't expect it.
Though none left the factory looking quite like this.
This is my DeLorean monster truck, and this is what it sounds like when I fire it up. Well, there's quite a few people that think I'm a little bit crazy for doing this, or a lot crazy for doing this.
Set up by John DeLorean, the DeLorean Motor Company started producing their 2-seater Gullwing sports car in 1981, and Rich was an early fan.
I like what John did, what he had envisioned for the car. There was a lot of factors against him: time, money, the economy. In spite of all of that, the car company still created a very unique car.
After meeting John DeLorean at a car show, Rich was inspired to create his own take on the car.
I happened to be the only person that had 2 DeLoreans parked at the convention, so he came over and took a picture between my 2 DeLoreans. I showed him some of my sketches, and I told him I'd like to build something like this, and probably thought I was a little bit crazy, but he said, if you think you can do it, go for it. If I had not met John in person, this vehicle may never have even gotten past the sketch stage.
Rich has been customizing rides since the mid-'80s, but nothing as radical as the truck he calls the D-Rex. He created it by fusing 2 crashed vehicles, one a 1981 DeLorean, the other a K5 Blazer. Although he has driven it over cars, D-Rex was originally built for show.
One of the most outstanding features of the vehicle is the TSL Super Swamper 44 boggers. We got the big 6-inch side pipes coming out there without any mufflers. When a lot of people see the DeLorean monster truck for the first time, one of the terms that's used most often is badass. A lot of people do complain I may have used a perfectly good DeLorean, but the whole rear end was wrecked, the whole right front side was wrecked. It's actually more of a recovery program and a recycling program.
When it comes to supersized DeLoreans, the D-Rex is just one of Rich's fabrications.
This is one of my longer projects, both in length and in duration. The DeLorean limousine is 26 feet long. It's got 6 fully operational gull-wing doors on there, and that's never been attempted, as far as I know, on any kind of limousine. Probably for good reason. They're very difficult to try to get everything lined up exactly right. I was a little disappointed when John DeLorean passed away and he didn't get a chance to see it in person. That stalled me for several years, and then I picked it back up a few years later.
Rich seeks out only damaged DeLoreans for his projects, which means they can take a long time to put together.
I use them primarily because there were so few DeLoreans actually built that I do not want to remove the good ones from the population. So the limo in particular, that took about 5 or 6 damaged cars worth of parts.
In fact, Rich keeps a warehouse full of DeLorean spares for whenever a crazy concept comes to him.
I have so many different ideas for custom DeLoreans. I'm not sure if time, money, or my eventual age stops me from building them. But as long as I'm able, I will continue to build them. My DeLorean projects are kind of like kids. I'd have to say the D-Rex is certainly one of my favorites, the DeLorean monster truck.
There's modifying, and then there's modifying. Creating something unique that's as individual as you are, and man, I'm all for that. We'll see you next time right here on Ultimate Rides.